And when you compare yourself so much to what other people that you think you're supposed to be like are, then any originality that you could bring to the table is squashed because you think they're not doing it. You are looking at other people and trying to copy it or fit yourself into what someone else's passion is, that you're going to miss it.
That's Harper and Gracie of Girl Creative Co. And this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Hey guys, I'm your host, Kara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast, where I invite my favorite humans, the awesome, the up to something, and the extraordinary to come and share their story. I hope that you'll be left entertained, inspired, and moved to take action towards living your most powerful life. Harper and Gracie are the energetic, optimistic, and talented co-founders of Girl Creative Co., a design, branding, visual merchandising, and website creation company based in Georgia. Essentially anything you need to do visually to tell your story, they can help you with. When I stumbled upon their Instagram and then their website, I immediately knew I wanted to get to know these women. On this episode, we talk about how finding your career home can be super fast or take a winding road. We discuss the sad truths of brand bullying and how coming together as a collaborating team or as a group of powerful women can change everything for you, your business, and the world. All that and so much more coming up, but first. If you're interested in discovering what possibilities and businesses are available for you to create and to live your most fulfilling life, please visit thepowerfulladies.com/coaching and sign up for a free coaching consultation with me. There is no reason to wait another day to not be living your best life, when you instead could be running at full speed towards your wildest dreams today. Well, thank you guys so much for being a yes to the Powerful Ladies Podcast.
We are pumped. We're so excited.
Well, I would love to start by let's introduce who you guys are and what you're up to everyone listening.
Okay, so I'm Harper. I'm one half of the Girl Creative team, and I have been doing graphic design and a bunch of different things that fall under the creative umbrella for about 10 years now. And I started Girl Creative with Gracie, my biz partner, in July of last year. And we hit the ground running for real, and we have huge dreams and big ideas and a lot of, I would just say like spunk and charisma for what's going on in the creative community right now. And so, like I said, we hit the ground running, and every day is different, and every day we're growing, and we're just trying to kind of keep up with everything, and we're pumped about our growth.
We are. And I'm Gracie. I'm the other half of Girl Creative, the taller half.
She makes me look like a munchkin.
No, but just going off what Harper said, we started this back in July, and I am 10 years younger than Harper, but so I have way less experience. But also, I think the biggest thing is we've known each other for a long time. Like, our lives have been intertwined through so many stages of life. And so it was just it wasn't an easy decision to start Girl Creative, but it was just kind of like, well, why would we not? And we really have been I don't know, we're still figuring out every single day, but the work's flowed in, and it's been great. But
what's been really crazy is that Gracie and I actually used to work at a church, and I was Gracie's youth leader way back in the day. And we just always, even though she, like she was saying, was 10 years younger than me, we just always kind of had this really cool chemistry, and just I would be so excited to see her. And then she was my kid's babysitter, and we've just always had a super similar design aesthetic and just been similar people. And Gracie went to school for marketing, and I was in a place with my current job that I was ready to kind of break free and have a little more freedom and more companionship with what I was doing. And Gracie was looking for something that was more in line with what she was passionate about. And I kind of threw it out there. I'm like, Gracie, we should do this business together. And it just all felt super right. And within about 2 to 3 weeks of the first conversation, we made our Instagram name, we made our logo, and we're just like, let's do it. Let's go.
And for everyone who's now curious, what does Girl Creative do?
So we were really intentional with our name, Girl Creative, because Gracie and I both just have a passion for creating things and for colors and for encouraging and for happiness and for anything that kind of falls under that marketing umbrella. And we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves into something that was just marketing or just PR. So we kept it clear with Girl Creative, kept it open, I guess you should say. And then we've primarily do branding and identity. We do a lot of content creation for Instagrams. We do installations in people's storefronts. We do marketing collateral, whether it's stationery or posters. And then we do websites as well. And I would say the thing that kind of makes us different is that we hone in a lot to what our client wants. And then we look at them and we don't sell everyone a website. We don't sell everyone an Instagram. We look at them and we say, this is what's going to help your business grow. And then we give them a specialized custom idea of what they need. And so it's been really fun because we get to be creative, even with the packages we offer, even with the services and our approach. So that is what Girl Creative does. And some clients need every single thing we offer and some just need one. And that's kept our day-to-day really versatile and different and creative. And we've loved it.
Do you work with only female clients or do you have a mix?
No, we have a mix. And I think that's kind of what we've figured out over the past, I guess, what has July been, 8 months?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't believe we're in March, we're in 2020.
A lot of months, feels like.
It really does. But I think that's the biggest thing is we are so diverse. We are in a smaller town. We're in North Georgia. And so I think for like the beginning, we're like, all right, we're going to hold into this local market and we're going to figure out, because we like to say we're a big, small town. Like we have a lot of entrepreneurs and we have a lot of people that have really cool stuff going on in Dalton. And so we've leaned into a lot of that. But also we've spread through other markets. And that's the biggest thing is like, we work with super like structured business, like law firm type, to super creative, to restaurants, to authors, super cool things. And I think that's the biggest thing is every day is different because all of our clients are so diverse. And I think that's one of the factors that what we love so much about Girl Creative.
And what's been really cool too is that we are in a smaller town. I mean, we have clients in New York, we have clients in California, like we've got a lot of clients in different places. But what's been neat is that Gracie and I decided to really lean into the fact that it was two girls, that we were going to do this together, and that we're not ashamed of being yes, we would say we were professional, but we're also excitable and we're passionate and we're fun and we like to really get to know our clients. And I think that just kind of coming out of the gate, being Girl Creative, we knew that some people might have pushback, just that we weren't going to be as, professional as your normal, marketing creative firm, but we really loved that. And we thought that maybe that would help our clients or prospective clients know who we were. And I think that's been a really cool thing to see so many people lean into that with us rather than be afraid that we're saying we're two girls who love this. We love color. We love happiness. We love figuring out who you are and who your brand is. We want to figure this out together. And so that was definitely, that was a risk putting that name out there, but it seemed to have a pretty good reward so far.
What do you say? Like when we hire a boy one day, we'll be like,
we'll figure that out when we get there.
When we get to that.
Well, I now think that your website is the gold standard for what I think all websites should elude from an energy perspective. There's so many clients that I work with on the business coaching side that really struggle with being themselves in what they're creating. And it is so clear to me on your website who you guys are, what matters to you, the energy level that you're going to bring to a project. And we're currently redoing my coaching website. And I'm like, guys, it needs to feel like this. And I'm pointing at your website. So I just love it. Even the colors that you guys have chosen, like the pictures on the stairs, that color palette is my color palette. I'm like, look, they figured it out. That's the palette. And I have a piece of art that I have kept photographing to put into my brand brief. And it's those exact same colors.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, the cool thing there is that I think Gracie and I both really kind of gravitate towards people and projects that are authentic. And people are perceptive and people have a lot of, what's the word I always say you have, Gracie?
Discernment.
And I'm the one out of the two of us that like, I jump in head first and I just go for it. And I'm like, yes, like bring the passion. Gracie has more of the, yes, it's awesome, but let's figure it out first. And so we have a really good team mentality, but I do know one of our main points when we started Grow Creative was that we wanted to be authentically ourselves. And if it was a business we were going to start together and it was just the two of us, then why would we do it any other way? And let's have fun with it. And this is going to be what we do in our day job. And we want to be able to walk into our office, the space that we create and the space that we meet clients at, and the space that's supposed to reflect what we do, to be colorful and exciting and happy and energetic, because those are values that Gracie and I both have personally, and we wanted our business to reflect that as well. So it makes us so happy when we hear that somebody goes to our website and gets those vibes, because that's definitely what went into creating it.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you guys always think that you would be entrepreneurs?
I don't know. No, I mean, I come from a family. I'll start with this one. I'll let Harper finish it. Of entrepreneurs. Like my dad's, he's somebody I look up to in a sense, and he had so many jobs throughout his heart. I'm like, I can't believe so many random jobs, even from like multi-level to like selling countertops to selling water filters. So I've always been in that like entrepreneur, and then he finally started his own business basically. So I've always like, I grew up in that realm of like starting your own business. Yeah, there's benefits, but I also saw the struggles of like, my dad he traveled throughout the week. And so I saw that my mom took care of 3 young girls by herself. And like, you know, I don't have kids, but moms, they're the real MVPs. Like Harper, like she is a badass working mom. Excuse my language, you know, but she is, and it is hard. And even my older sister Taylor, she paints on the side, and so she's got a side hustle along with a full-time job. And then I have a middle sister who is a photographer. She does it full-time. She's a wedding photographer. She's an entrepreneur. And then me, I went to school at our local community college and was kind of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I'll figure it out. And I always knew that like hard work was instilled in me, and I knew I wanted to do something business-minded. And I guess I just didn't really realize that I had creativity in me, you know what I mean, until you kind of like have things in your life that like bring it out. And I think I did a website for a buddy, and I was like, I'm pretty, you know, it looks pretty good. Or he liked it at least. So you know what I mean? It gives you that affirmation of like, okay, maybe this is something I can harp on. And so, I mean, I think that's just kind of where we landed. And I never thought on this day, 2020 of March, like that I'd be owning my own business like a year ago. I probably didn't think that, honestly, a year ago. You know, okay, I was actually working, a little backstory, I was working for Harper's husband, Caleb. He's an accountant. He's also an entrepreneur. So we're just like right, we're in an entrepreneur circle over here. But I was working for him at an accounting firm, and he taught me a lot of good things, but it was nothing.
Gracie does her bookkeeping.
It was nothing that lines up with my personal passion. And so, we
took the leap together.
We did. I had that realization, the moment of like, okay, it's time to like figure out what I want to do with my life. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be just doing like nothing that fuels your purpose. And that's kind of where Harper like was like, all right, she was the one with she's a 7. And I don't know if people are Enneagrams, but she's an Enneagram 7. So she called me one day and was like, let's start our own business. And I was like, I feel like I was probably very skeptical about it. She was. And I, knowing Gracie, I knew that she wouldn't be the other person that's like, oh my gosh, hey.
But also I didn't want to go into business with another 7. I needed the person that was going to be the realist and the one that was going to like be able to look at it from a business perspective as well. So it ended up just being a perfect collab. But as far as the entrepreneurship aspect, I am one girl. I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl in my family, and both my parents, my mom is a painter. My dad just has appreciated design as long as I could remember. When I was like a teeny bopper, my dad would not let me read like Tiger Beat and all of those magazines. He would give me W and Architectural Digest. He would say, read these. If you're going to read a magazine, these are the ones worth reading. And so forever, I feel like I've been rearranging my room and making collages since my earliest memory. So I feel like it was in me. However, without like, I mean, I think my parents were just, you know, inundated with children and everything else. But I don't think anyone looked at me early on and said, you have a design eye, and this is something that makes you happy, and this is what you're good at. So I went out of state to college and met with my advisor, and I've always had a love of words and quotes. So we kind of ended up, after a few other majors, actually I say 9 other majors, because I couldn't exactly put my finger on what I wanted to do and what I was good at. And I think that's probably the story of a lot of creatives. Like, they think they have to put themselves in a box, or they have to be, let me figure out a major that's going to work in the real world and someone's going to hire me. And so I played that game for a few years in college, and went from just generic marketing to PR to English to art and a billion other directions, just trying to figure out exactly what was going to serve me and my gifts the best. And so I think I worked at a church for a few years, and one day my immediate boss was like, we need someone to create graphics. I just said, okay, I'll do it. And I had no idea what Photoshop was. I had no idea what Illustrator was, and just decided that since it was something that I knew that I would love to do. And so I actually bought Photoshop for Dummies, the book. This is aging me a little bit, but this is before Skillshare. This is before all of those. And I bought the book and just like completely inhaled it, and taught myself Photoshop, taught myself Illustrator, and started doing graphics. Fast forward a couple years, I had my little girl, and I took a step back from working in an office for a little bit. And about a year into being a mom, I knew that like the work was something that was just in me and that I wanted to create. Loved my little girl to death, but just knew that being at home all day, I couldn't do it. And I knew that I loved energy, I loved design, I loved creativity. And so I just randomly started an event planning business because I knew there was energy there. And what I've realized about myself is I'm directly, like, I'm super attracted to energy and to people that feel excited, and, events. Yeah. That's pretty much the place where there's energy. If nothing else, a wedding is going to have some energy. So I started an event planning business. And what I learned from that 2 years of doing that is that my all-time favorite moment of the entire event was that I was also doing their invitation design, is when I would go to the print shop and pick up the invites and look at them and feel them and be so excited that the emblem on that invitation or what their koozie even looked like was my favorite part of the whole process. And so I started realizing that graphics and how an emblem or a look or a design can really translate so many things about what's happening and the unspoken. That's when I realized, okay, like, this type of design is where my heart really is at. Mm-hmm. And so I started my own business right after that, just called Kismet Designs. And I loved it. And it was so fun. But like I said, I'm like a super energy person. Working by yourself, the ups and downs can drain you. And you don't have someone there having your back and saying, we've got it. We're going to try again. We'll do it again. We'll do it better. You're just you. And you can kind of start to look inward a little too much. Yes. And get down on yourself. So I'd run that course for about 7 years. And I just kind of felt like I was at, I just wasn't filled up anymore. And I felt like my creativity was being zapped by a lot of like policy and bureaucracy and things like that. And so I took about a 6-month hiatus, and then Gracie was pulling away because she wanted to do something creative. So that's like what Gracie said. I called her up one day, and then we just decided to.
And things kind of come full circle when they're supposed to happen, and they're supposed to happen the right way. And that's absolutely how Girl Creative was formed. Like, we didn't rush anything. I mean, everything was like, it fell in line, like in a way that it was supposed to fall in line, and we've basically been hustling since. So like that's it. It's just having a business partner for us. It works. The best thing in the world.
Yeah, and knowing that you don't need to do it by yourself. Like, I think hearing both of your stories, there's 2 things that really stand out to me. One of them is that you're like, a journey is never a straight line. Like, it really does meander and pivot, and you try this, like, and I love, Harper, that you mentioned like just following what brought you energy. We just recorded earlier today the recap for our February meetup, which was how to find your purpose and your path. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give someone is just go do what's fun. Like, we think we have to do things that, like, work shouldn't equal fun. It should equal work. And I'm like, nope. Like, it can be so much fun. Like, you could be amazed that someone's paying you to do your favorite thing in the whole world.
Right.
And until you start trying in those areas, you really don't know. And then similarly, like, the other part is that people think they have to do it by themselves, whether they can't trust people, or especially people they're friends or family with. And I also say to that, like, all that matters with whoever you have on your team is that you have the communication level where you can say what's on your mind. You're not afraid to hold back. Like, you know that they're a big and powerful person, so you'll say things that are uncomfortable because you know it's better to be said than to push it under the rug. And, I love that you guys have this long-term relationship that kept kind of building to a point where, like, okay, it's now. And, like, all of your skill sets, all of your paths are coming together to really find something that, like, sings to you guys in a way that together you're so much more powerful than on your own.
Absolutely. And that's been actually really interesting to see for me that was on my own for a few years. I think that there's power in numbers, but I actually have felt that with Gracie, just that I feel more confident going into a meeting, going into a presentation, knowing that I've got someone that's got my back. And cheers to all the people out there doing it by themselves, because it really is, it's hard. And you've got to be the one that's picking yourself up. And, it's something that I love that I did it on my own for a few years, because I feel like I learned a lot of lessons, but I get to take a little breather now, having someone that's in it with me and is in presentations with me and bouncing ideas off each other. And Gracie and I also, like we said, we've had a relationship for a long time. So we can also look at each other and in love and in honesty, be like, that's cool, but that's not it yet. Mm-hmm. When we're doing a logo, when we're doing a graphic. And so I think that it's key for anyone looking for a partnership. Mm-hmm. Make sure your values align is what I would say first. Your gifts can be completely opposite, but I think your values and what you want out of the business and out of the company need to really align, because what motivates you is what's going to keep you in sync.
And respect each other too. I think a lot of people go into partnerships and they think that they respect that person, but then they get in one that just doesn't really work. And I think that's the biggest thing is we have so much respect. Like, yeah, we're great friends. We are. But we also just truly respect each other so much. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm always going to have her back, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
How has being two women in business together changed your perspective outside of just your business and your lives?
So I think what's been interesting there is that I'm thankful we're doing this in the day that we are doing it, because I do feel like there's a lot of really awesome stuff happening just around the world and our society about empowering women, and that two women together can they can compete with an industry run by complete men. It's everything seems a little more equal. However, just to be real and not just to sound like everything is sugar coated, we haven't had any pushback really from men. Our pushback has been from some women, and that's been hard for us a little bit, because if you followed us on Instagram or you looked at anything we do, we're probably half and half between empowering people and design, and because that's a really important thing for us. And when there's you've got trolls and you've got people wanting to throw negativity in the world, it's really important to both of us just to, from again the energy standpoint, just to push out good energy and happy vibes. And if someone's scrolling their Instagram and they see a billion things they wish they could be or want to be, that they would come across ours and think and just feel something happy and positive about themselves. So that's been really important to us as we build our brand. And so, I think, we've, again, not to get too deep or too sad, but we've had recently an Instagram created that was intentionally negative about our company specifically. And I think the thing that it did was actually make people rally around us a little more and make people lean into us and say, we love what y'all are doing, keep doing your thing. And so I think in the end, happiness and positivity wins. Mm-hmm. I do think it's a real thing though, and bullying and people being negative when you're doing something good. I think it's something that people do need to talk about. So, I mean, we're obviously, we got through it. It was something that was really shocking, and it does hurt you. Just, you feel like you're in third grade again when somebody just throws something that mean at you. But I do think that kind of made us just really stay grounded and rooted in what our values as a business are. And it made us realize that it's not only about just putting out the designs and the new logo we've done, but also putting things out there that can make people even just smile or feel good for a second, because there is a lot of crap and a lot of people that want to be negative.
I think the biggest thing is like we're both really very intentional people. Like we're genuine in everything we do, every aspect of life. And so I think that's why we've gotten some like negative hate within the past, 6 weeks. And it's been kind of personal. And so I think that's the biggest thing is it's like, what coveted this? Like, what did we do to get this to happen to us?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is it's made us, people have rallied around us, but it's also made us like, okay, we're going to just keep working our booties off and like doing what we're doing. Because you know what, at the end of the day, this is like, we love what we do so much, but it's also like, it is our job.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is it's like, we want to please our clients. And yeah, you know what, if we have a little bit of fun on Instagram and we're creative and we're happy about it.
Why should anybody want to crush that?
Absolutely.
You'd be surprised. But this is actually like, I'm going to share this quote because Gracie and I love Adam Kurtz, who is just a creative, and he has some awesome books out there, and he gives everything in little snippets, which Gracie and I love. And this is so applicable to right now. And it says, everyone's aware of that quote that says, love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, Adam turned it on. He said, love what you do and you'll work super hard all the time with no separation or any boundaries, and also take everything extremely personally. And like, I mean, I laughed out loud when I read it, but it's so true because we're doing it's not just our day job. We love creating. We love uplifting people. We love design, and it's part of our makeup. It's part of who we are. And so we do take it personally, and we try to encourage each other and not to take it, the no's and the bad things too personally. But I also think that's what makes people, like the passion that people have behind their job. I think that's what makes them great. So we won't apologize for it. And we feel like Adam Kurtz had it right. Just, it's not that you won't, you'll never go to work a day in your life, but that you will pour every last bit of energy you have into what you're creating because it means so much to you. And that's definitely where Gracie and I are right now.
Well, it breaks there are so many things that motivate me in this world that are because my heart breaks for someone else. And I'm like, no, that is like, there's this social justice warrior in me that like comes out when I don't always want it to. And when I hear that somebody was a bully to you guys, which I'm like, why? Like, why would you want to waste your time? And why are you trying to like, it breaks my heart for you guys having to experience that, but then it breaks my heart even more for them, knowing that where their life must be if they have the time, the need, the interest, or the desire to even create like this ripple effect that they have.
And that's kind of where we were with it. Of course, initially when you wake up and you have all these text messages from people saying, is this account? What is this account? Is this you guys? Are y'all trying to be like, is it funny or what is going on? So you have initial shock. And like I said, it kind of brings you back to your like third grade self when you're just, when everything, what's that expression? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. And I always laugh at that because I'm like, that's so untrue. It hurt so bad. And so, I mean, Gracie and I think spent an hour and a half on the phone that morning just trying to figure out and navigate through it because they just said some hurtful things. But at the end of the day, it was a week before we hosted a big International Women's Day event. And, I just told Gracie, I said, this adds so much context to our event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that our desire and what we're doing is to empower people. And you're never, if you're doing anything that's recognizable, you're going to have somebody be mean about it. It just is the way it is. And so we decided to look at it from an angle of maybe what we're doing is making a difference. And maybe the positivity we're putting out there is actually having an effect on some people, and people are noticing it. And that's really what we want. So if somebody took the time to create something that was specifically targeted at us, then maybe what we're doing is making some positive ripples. And we just decided to let it go and just give mercy to that person because they're obviously struggling. And so it didn't mean that it hurt less. It just means that what we let it do to our persona and what we think about ourselves, we just decided to let it go.
But it is also like what you said, like who has like the time? I mean, that was the biggest thing, I think, is what we kind of harped on. But I mean, no, I think if anything, it's just, it makes you want to work harder. Like,
and I think we have a lot of like girl creators and entrepreneurs that we follow on Instagram. And what's been really cool is to see that a lot of them deal with this kind of stuff, or not even just negativity, but plagiarism. And I mean, the coolest thing is if you see something you love, you give them credit for it, give them a shout out, say this was awesome. I think there is negativity absolutely involved when you put yourself out there, and I think that's just part of it. But it has been nice for us to see other people that we follow and inspire us deal with the same things, and we're like, you know what? It's just part of it. You got to roll with the punches and keep moving and keep doing your thing. And that's when, back to what we said earlier, authenticity is really key. Everything we've said, everything we've done is completely true to who we are. So if we'd done something we didn't feel completely proud of, or we felt like we were impersonating or doing something, and someone comes up with negativity, then you wouldn't really know what foot you had to stand on, and you would feel like, well, that wasn't really us anyways. But every single thing we've done, we stand behind and we feel proud of. And all we want to do is make, spread positivity and help people really connect with other people. So it's been an interesting experience for sure, and one that if we could choose, we would say we wish it didn't happen, but it absolutely was a growth moment for us for sure.
And it puts things into perspective. Like it makes us both think about like because like we're all guilty of like saying things we shouldn't say about someone, or maybe you know what I mean, like harping on something that shouldn't have been harped on. And like I think that week we were like, okay, this makes me think twice about what's going to come out of my mouth, because like any form of hate, regardless of what it is it's not cool. I mean, like that's the thing. And so that was like, it was right and great timing with our event, and like getting around a lot of women who do the same thing as me and Harper do, and who do things that line up with us, and just like, you know what? You need this like you need a circle of support in a field like this, in any field. Like everybody needs a support group. Everybody needs somebody they can call at the end of the day and be like, listen to this, what this person did to me today. You know what I mean? So it was an interesting week, but it was and
I think we're realizing that the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get great stuff and bad stuff. You can't really filter it, and it's made us stronger. And I think that we'll keep doing it. And if we get another hater account, we'll just chalk it up to the fact that we're making ripples.
Yes. So you guys are obviously very busy running your new business. Harper, you have kids. You both have families. You've got plenty of things going on. What inspired you to also create an event to celebrate International Women's Day with the women around you?
Well, if we're being honest, I was on, I don't know what I was on. Maybe it was like Twitter or something. And I saw, okay, International Women's Day is March 8th. And so I sent Harper a screenshot, and she was like, okay, we're doing something. Because in our minds, since we started our business back in July, we were like, okay, we really want to have an event. We have this park in Dalton. It's called Bear Park. And we want to have an event centered here about supporting women entrepreneurs. And it was one of those things where it was like, we'll plan it one day.
We literally have an Evernote that says when we get time.
Yes.
Which is funny because it just keeps growing. The list just keeps growing, but we haven't had a lot of time for them. And one of the things on there was help support women entrepreneurs in our area.
You keep going.
And so Gracie and I, when we started Girl Creative, we decided like that would be so cool to do a festival where the booths were only about women-run businesses around our area. And that was just something that we really felt passionate about, because we think it's so cool that, I mean, we've seen the hurdles and just, emotionally, financially, that it takes to really pour yourself into a new business. So we thought it'd be a cool thing to start a festival that was a yearly thing that just really highlighted women entrepreneurs in our area. And so and like I said, it went on our Evernote of when we had time. And it was one of those things that Gracie and I talked about, like once a week at least. We'd be like, oh, we should do that for this event. We should do it. And then Gracie texted me about 6 weeks ago and was like,
yeah, it's like a graphic or something I sent you. Like,
yeah, it was like, hey, International Women's Day is March 8th. We should do something. Like, oh my gosh, that's our event. There we go. It doesn't have to be a festival. It doesn't have to be something that's totally coordinated, but let's just at our office throw like just a fun event where it's just for women and there's communication and collaboration and people encouraging each other. And we actually had a banner made that said when women got there, it said, these are the goals for the night and these are your challenges for the night. And one of our challenges was for every nice thing you think about someone there, you need to tell it to their face. And so it was, again, just a fun event that felt like it was about positivity and just encouraging each other and hoping that people could make new connections and tell each other about the struggles. And whether you're a mom and you're, doing a side hustle all the time, or you're bored in your job and you feel like you have a passion and you want to pursue it, and just talking through that. So, I mean, it was a great event. It was something really fun. And hopefully we captured so many email addresses and so many contacts. And so we're going to push for a big festival in early fall, where those women that are there that are, making jewelry or doing marketing, or whether they're doing makeup, whatever it is, we're going to do a big festival that really highlights all the women entrepreneurs in our area.
Amazing. I'm going to self-invite myself to that because that sounds awesome.
We would love it. We would love for you to come.
No, I mean, there's another thing that I'm always trying to get people to understand and do is that just reach out to the people that you are inspired and lit up about. Like when I kept seeing, I don't even know how I found your website. Like I don't even remember whether it was through Instagram or someone sent it to me. Like something happened where you guys crossed my path. And I kept being like, no, like there's something about this group that I'm like, yes, yes, yes to. And then I just emailed you guys and said, whether it's Powerful Ladies or my clients, like we have to connect. There's something there. We had a great phone call the first time we connected. And sure enough, like I've connected you to a client of mine and now you're on the podcast. Like be brave in reaching out to the people that you want to hang out with, because like there's so much amazing collaboration and support and community that can come from it. So it's like, why not just pick up the phone? Like you never know who's going to be a yes. You never know.
Right. Well, that's another big aspect, because so Gracie and I follow so many people on Instagram that just inspire us and we think are doing great things. And like we follow Create and Cultivate and the Wing, and we literally would like salivate over these accounts and be like, oh my gosh, look at that event with all these women that are creative and doing their own thing and just want to be there, whether they just want to be there to support or they want to be there to network. And so that was something that we would like daily look at and talk about. And we were just like, you know what? We don't live in LA. We don't live in New York. We don't live in Chicago. We don't live in any of these big cities. So let's start something where we are for the women that are in our area. And we were thinking maybe 12 women would respond. And we had over 150 people.
Amazing.
So it was a really cool thing. And it was just one of those things where, like you said, be brave and be bold about it and just throw it out there. And the support we've had was humbling and it was awesome. And it was event one of so many more to come.
Absolutely. And it was such an eclectic group. Like we did have people from Atlanta, and like Chattanooga is like a market that's close to us, but it also is a bigger city. And so people just like randomly showed up from there, and it was like, how'd you hear about Girl Creative? Or like, how'd you hear about this event? And it was really cool to see. And it was just like cool to see that people like, they want this. They want a community that fosters this. And so, I mean, and that's the biggest thing, is it gets us excited for having a festival type event in Dalton and being the hub of that.
Yep.
I'm so excited that we're in a time right now where people are leaning in on what it means to be an entrepreneur and doing it. And I love that the conversation is changing from entrepreneur means like huge startup, Y Combinator, to no, like you're an entrepreneur if you're doing eyebrows, let alone if you're doing a huge corporation. And the fact that it doesn't matter where you are to have your entrepreneur spirit come together. Like they have all these cities that are like top for entrepreneurs. And I'm like, no, like if you pay attention, it's happening everywhere right now. And, for you guys to be doing this festival in Northern Georgia, which most people aren't thinking is like a hotbed for entrepreneurship, and you have 150 women show up, like imagine what's happening everywhere else, like everywhere else. What do you think are other myths about entrepreneurship and innovation in the South, in your region, that like just isn't true based on what you see on the ground?
I think it would definitely be something that, like I said earlier in the podcast, that I struggled with going into like a field of learning in college. And I kind of thought that it needed to be something that fit within a box, and something that if I fail, like you think, if I fail, at least I'll have a job if I have this degree. And I think that we need to kind of turn that thinking on its head and like, what's going to make you fulfilled? And what are you going to go into that if you failed a billion times in it, you're still happy because it's what your heart is like after and what you're pursuing. So I think the really cool thing there is like leaning into who you really are and asking, if you don't know what your passions are, look to your friends, look to your parents, look to your siblings, people that are close to you and care for you, and say, what do you see me get excited about? What do you think I'm good at? And I think that's a really cool thing too, because another thing that's happening in our like just world right now is Enneagram and Myers-Briggs and people wanting to know more about who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think another big aspect of that is like, what makes you happy? When you're around it, whether it's, clothing and helping your friends pick out an outfit that looks good on them, or that you rearrange your living room 17 times a week because you like seeing it in different angles, or if it's making dinner for your family, that a dinner that's healthy and they all enjoy, or accounting and helping people get their finances in order, whatever it is that makes you feel purposeful. I think you have to hardcore lean into that. And so I think probably, what we deal with in the South, thankfully we're in an age where there's just across the board in the United States, there's way less, bad association with it being a woman-run business. I think the thing that we're dealing with now is the beauty of social media is also something that can be so limiting to people, because they'll see someone else doing it and think, oh God, well, she looks like this, or she does this way, or she does it that good. And then it inhibits what they think they're good at. And I think you got to look at it the other way. Like, look at people leaning into who they are and empowering what makes them happy. And I think that you should look at it in ways that all these people are successful with it. And if this is what my passion is, and this is what I'm truly being called to, then you just lean in and you do it. And also platforms like Instagram and Wix, and there's so many places out there now that for a really small investment, you can try out what you want to do and push it out there. And so many people are so pro collaboration right now that reaching out to people that you think are in a similar field and might give you a shout out and what can we work together to do this with? I would just hope that people feel that empowered to lean into what they're passionate about and be able to start something, because you never know until you try. And you would, what's that quote? You'd rather try and fail than fail to try. And we totally feel that.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, if something doesn't work, at least we tried.
Yeah, and not putting it on the back burner. I think that was personally, just speaking from personal experiences, I was I'll do this in 10 years. You know what I mean? I was I'm only 23 years old. I'll start my own business when I'm more, well off.
Harper's age.
Well off. No, but just well off in society, and I don't have any debt and all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the biggest thing is it's if you're a hard worker and you know what you want to do, do it. And that's the biggest thing. And yeah, our field of business is we didn't take a lot of risk on we're not starting a restaurant. We didn't have to build out, a kitchen, take on a loan or anything. So I think that's the biggest thing is just be smart about what you're doing. And if you're a hard worker, it'll come. It'll fall into place.
But if it is food that's your passion, if it is cooking that's your passion, start in your kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instagram's free. Just push it out there and just keep going with it, because the cool thing is if you're truly passionate about it and it's really part of who you are, that energy we were talking about earlier and kind of the vibes you push out there, people recognize that, and people are attracted to it. And if you're not doing it just to become, Instagram fame or something, if you're doing it because it's truly part of who you are, then there's an authenticity that pushes through and people are attracted to it.
Yeah, there's we're working on a course right now that's going to like help people like find what makes them their own unicorn. And like unicorns are the thing that followed me before they were a thing. Like I have a tattoo, if you guys can see it. So I can do this, right? But it's like, I really believe that there's this unique combination that's you. So even if you see all these people on social media or Instagram that are also cooking and they're all about food, there's a space for you because your skills, your experience, your unique culture, your take on it, even just your voice is going to be something that someone's waiting for. And I'm such a firm believer that if you're not doing what you know you are either called to do, or you're not using up all of you to do something, like the world's missing out, not just you, but like the whole world. So how can we get everyone feeling safe to be brave and like go play in those spaces that keep calling to you, because there's something there. And like you said, there's no pressure to make it this huge investment or this significant thing. Like just start, try it out, see what happens, like show it to a few friends. Like you can keep building up. And you know, in the one course I do called Going from Creative to Entrepreneur, I tell people like, don't worry about the business plan. Don't worry about knowing how it's going to work. Like just start and just see what shows up. Like it's part of the reason why I love listening to How I Built It. Like I'll never forget from Jeni's Splendid ice creams when she's talking about how much she didn't even know about making ice cream, but she just wanted to do it anyway. And I think that sometimes it's such a benefit to know nothing about what you're starting, because then you don't know what you should know. So there's like less barriers to getting into it.
And the less comparison. And comparison is like it's the killer of individuality. Mm-hmm. And when you compare yourself so much to what other people that you think you're supposed to be like are, then any originality that you could bring to the table is squashed because you think they're not doing it. And so I think that was a big part when Gracie and I started Girl Creative, is we wanted to do something fun and different. And we play a lot with mixed media and just have fun with it. And it's not just, we're all about a good shot of someone drinking a beautiful latte with like foam art. We're all about it. We love it. I love foam art, but we just wanted to do something that felt a little more true and original to who we were. Mm-hmm. And had so much fun with it. And I think that if you are looking at other people and trying to copy it or fit yourself into what someone else's passion is, that you're going to miss it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm very curious about where the inspiration for what Girl Creative is from a creative perspective is. Because like when I look at your stuff, I see some of my favorite inspirations, which are like Gem and the Holograms and Sassy Magazine, from like the mix of 80s and 90s, like throw it all together, like girl rock and roll. Where did what's that?
We may have the fact that I'm an 80s baby and Gracie's a 90s baby.
Yeah.
We probably have that. And honestly, I'll again age myself. I'm a huge Lisa Frank fan.
Yes. This is why we're friends.
Like, forever. Like give me everything iridescent, everything holographic. Show me all the pinks, all the purples, colored together. And what is so interesting is that Gracie is my tone on tone friend. She's my the one that so perfectly uses mustard yellows and golds and knows how to perfectly put those together. And so, but she has personality that is like spunk out of this world. So we've really married our two styles together a lot in that, and they've been so complementary. But we definitely like to put something out there, like we said, that if you're just scrolling on Instagram, you would see it and you would smile.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's kind of been our inspiration behind it. And Gracie's sister is like a phenomenal photographer. And so what's been so fun too is because we've definitely needed photographs, because when we were building our whole website, we were building our entire brand, we decided we didn't want to just be walking down a really cute street laughing as our pictures. We wanted to do something a little more fun and a little different that and so we said we just need really like high quality photos that we can change the background of and we can put fun things behind it. And so Gracie's sister was like, I'm game, I'll do it. And so we've been lucky enough to have a photographer that
We work with well.
That we work with well.
Around.
That only charges us a bottle of wine.
Those are my favorite employees.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She tells when you're okay, that face doesn't look good. You need to make it.
Yeah, and she's
thank goodness, right?
Biggest fan and our biggest critic when we're doing photos shoot. But I think again, back to just what we've said the whole time, our Instagram really, like, I think if you hung out with the two of us, you would feel like we were our Instagram, which was what we wanted. We didn't want it to look like crazy polished and perfect and like very structured. We wanted it to be fun and uplifting and exciting and kind of just play on things that we love, which are colors and happiness and
content creation. I mean, we offer that we do that, and so it's like, we can do content creation, and we're creative with it. You know what I mean? And whether that fits, if you're more like business, or if you're fun business, like we can. There's a balance between the two.
Yeah. I'll ask Jordan to make a note so we can cut this out, but I have to show you the colors of my current, like, clearly I'm also 80s. Like, what?
No, we love so much. And like, we say that our girl creative color.
Harper's converted me. Look at my phone.
I know. You'll see this. Yes. We're both iridescent.
Yes.
When I'm like, usually this right now we're quick greens.
Okay, wait. Kara, I'm gonna have to send you an email of this brand that I just found called Kurt Geiger. Do you know who that is?
Yes. Some of my favorite shoes. Yes.
Yes, I found them recently and I ordered like mass quantities of stuff with all the rainbows on them.
Yeah.
But one of the colors that's like we say is our girl creative color is this like kind of like neon yellow green. And it's because it's so vibrant and so happy and it actually
it's basically it's Pantone 338.
Yeah. No, we like love it so much, but it's because the cool thing is I feel like that Pantone represents where Gracie and I meet because it's vibrant, but it's also a green. Yes. So we've got a neutral, we have a neutral part of it and also a vibrancy part of it. And that's been just such a color that it looks
Harper and Gracie's color.
It is. It's our color that we go to when all else fails. That's our baby.
No, and the biggest struggle we're having with the brand identity for my new coaching website is that I'm like, how do I mix the fact that I love the sparkles and the iridescence and the off the wall like pizzazz of things, but I also come from a background of working in very serious corporate things and like skateboarding. I'm like, how can I marry Lisa Frank and skateboarding and still look like a professional?
There's a way.
You know what? We would be able to help you there because I feel like that it's such an interesting thing because our clients come to us and I mean, we have clients that are realtors and law firms and churches, things that can't be as poppy as the colors we want to use are. But the fun thing about it is that if you look kind of the meaning of colors and why people are attracted to them, it's the feel of them, right? It's not like, it's what that color brings. Like when your brain processes the color, what does that mean? So it's a fun thing. We can kind of start decoding and breaking down the meanings of colors and why they're there. And then you kind of go from that base, which also is another thing that Gracie and I are super passionate about, which is color theory and what they mean. And we have a lot of favorite graphic designers we follow and people that we look up to that we've just we've learned from and we listen to a billion podcasts and read so many books because we're just trying to like hone in on our craft a lot. And we do want to be true to what we're offering our clients and make sure that even though this is a passion, that there is an art to it, and we want to make sure that we're delivering what we promise. And so we're really passionate about reading everything we can, listening to all the podcasts, and we follow so many blogs and so many sites, and are just looking at all the ways that like digital marketing and logos and brand identity through huge corporations are changing, and we like to stay current too.
Yeah.
So one of my I'm a big passionate person about StrengthsFinder. I don't know if you guys have taken those tests, but like my number one strength is learning. And I realized that I had to make sure that I included in my, official work hours, the ability to follow blogs and learn and like read the books. And I'm a total book nerd. So how do you guys build in your capacity to stay current and do that research and learn within everything else you have in a regular like to-do list with your business?
Well, so what we've realized is that actually is something that when you're being creative, you're giving so much of your soul and who you are into every project. And there's also this demand, like it's hard to be creative on a timeline. And so what we've realized is that we really do have to create a window in our schedule that is just for us to breathe and to pour into the things that we love and to read the books and listen to the podcast and search the blogs, because it's almost like kind of that love bank people have talked about, like it can get empty. And so that's been something that's been that as we grow, it's been a challenge, and we're kind of at the point now where we're like, you know what, we've probably got to hire someone, because we don't want to just be like putting things out there and getting things done immediately and checking off to-do lists. We want to be really proud of what we've done, and we want to feel like
we don't feel like we're treading water or like
treading water. We don't want to feel that way. I mean, we're pumped about our growth and we're so excited, but we also want to make sure that we're really proud of all the designs we put out there. And that part of that is just, as a creative person, you need a lot of the times you can look inward for things, but you got to look outward too. And so we want to have our finger on the pulse of what's happening in design and with typography and with colors. And so I think time management is a struggle of ours right now, just trying to figure it out as two people that are gaining,
I feel like our heads are down constantly and working. Not that it's a bad thing, it's a great thing. Like, we truly are loving every single second of it. But there's a time where you got to lean into like, okay, I've kind of had a moment to feel like I'm creative and I'm being like uplifted. And like, there's so much that we can bounce off of each other, but there's also a point of where you have to like be in your own headspace about it. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, and I mean, you know this, like, if you don't grow with your growth, then there is no growth. I don't know if that's put correctly, but
that's absolutely true.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to grow in the right direction with what's going on, or like it's not going to succeed. And I think that's what we're, doing right now.
And the crazy thing is we're those weird nerds that are really passionate about like kerning and what's going on in typography. We're kind of
micromanager. I mean,
we love so much everything about the current trends, and like we're recently learning about Identities and how it's a new font trend. And we love stuff like that. We geek out over it. We send each other a billion Instagrams when we're not with each other about what's happening in design, which actually just kind of farther lets us know that what we're doing is what we're supposed to be doing, because it's not something that it's a job. We get so excited about learning about the field we're in. And it's just really nice, and to realize that what you're doing is what you are meant to be doing.
It makes all the other stress that comes with being an entrepreneur like settle down. Like, if the only stress that we have is the financial stress of making it all work, there's this peace of mind that comes with like not doing someone else's to-do list, not having to do work that seems silly or redundant, and like just being able to like know like everything I'm doing is aligned with what matters to me and what I'm committed to. It's a different level of peace of mind that like I just want everyone to feel, because when you're in that space, you realize like, oh, it's all possible. Like, all of it is.
Absolutely.
When you guys hear the word powerful ladies, what does it mean to you? What does it make you think of? And, does powerful ladies combined mean something different to you than those words on their own?
I think that I feel like I've harped on this a lot, this podcast, but I really think authenticity and not being afraid of who you are is the thing for me that resonates the most with powerful ladies, because I think there's so many things that a woman's supposed to be, and we're supposed to look like, and the role we're supposed to take. We've all seen those things that joke about that you're supposed to be skinny, but also make this perfect meal, and like the Pinterest mom and this, and there's a billion things that we're supposed to be. And I, for me, a powerful lady would be someone that's authentically them, and whatever that means to them. And the cool thing is, I've thought about this just in my personal life, where like I might not, mesh well with someone, and they might not be a best friend of mine, but I can respect them because they're authentically them. And And I feel like that's something that just people need to just be you. And then everything else will fall into place because at least you're true to who you are and you're not having to edit and change based on social stereotypes or what someone expects of you. And so I can remember seeing on like the front of like Cosmo and stuff when I was little that in your 30s are the happiest years of your life and things like that. And I feel a little bit like, wow, I must be super stereotypical because I feel that so much that I'm finally leaning into who I really am and I'm doing what I love and I'm unapologetically myself. And that's a really cool place to be. And I feel like I honed in on what my gifts are and what I love to do. And I think that's also why it feels so important to me to push other people to love themselves and to be authentically them, because you waste so much time trying to be what other people think you're supposed to be or what you think you're supposed to be. And back to our Instagram, that's what we really try to put out there is just happiness and leaning into you and tips that can help people where they're at and not make people feel like they have to be something that they're not.
Yeah, I think like she said that so well, like and Harper as herself too, she is one of those people that you meet her and you are like, okay, she's real, she's authentic, and she wants the best for whatever I'm doing in life. And I think that's the biggest thing is I come from a family of 4 women, I mean, granted, including my mom. And so it was like I was surrounded by a lot of estrogen and hormones growing up. So I know what a part, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the biggest thing is women are like, what's the word? Like by nature, they're just a little more dramatic and like they lean into like things.
We're intense. We love intensely. We feel intense.
And like, there's parts of me that I'm like, my sister and Harper will even say, like, you're just trying to play this cool. Like you're just pushing it off your back. I'm like, but no, and I think that's the biggest thing is it's like lean into who you are and like be real and like whatever that is about you. And I think that is what makes a powerful woman. And people notice that. Like people know, I don't care who you are, you know when you meet someone that's authentic. And so I think the biggest thing is like going back to like what you've said, like you've said this a few times, and I think I know you are living like what you're preaching, and like that's like fuel your passion. And I think that's like our biggest like
that is kind of like fueling people's passion. And I think it's very obvious when someone is themselves.
Yeah.
And it's attractive. And the cool thing is that we're all made differently. And so we don't need to try to be someone else. Be yourself. And that's such a cool, unique thing to you. And that makes you have worth and you have identity because you're you. And so I have an 8-year-old daughter, and that's like all I want for her is just for her to lean into who she is and to follow what makes her happy. And I hope for a world that we continue in this trend of leaning into yourself and being proud of who you are, because it's like I said, I hope it doesn't take Penelope till she's 30 something to realize
self-confidence can be not even saying me and Harper even have like nailed down self-confidence, because I think
that's a struggle that all women deal with always is
daily.
Self-confidence.
I mean, but I think it is a thing that like if you are doing something that you're proud of, you have to know some of that to continue to do it every single day. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, there's struggles we both have daily where we like at just being a woman, you know what I mean? Like we are really, really like, I think I would never criticize another woman, but like I'm the harshest critic of myself. You know what I mean? What I say to myself, I would never say, I mean, we're even getting into a completely different conversation now, but I would never say it about another woman, the things I say about myself. And so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you not be the biggest fan? And like you have people in your life, like my husband and like people in my corner, my family, you know what I mean? Like they're like, you know what I mean? You need those people that lift you up. But I'm just saying, like being a woman is, why are we so hard on ourselves? I don't know. Yeah. Even Gwyneth Paltrow, I listened to something, I was watching her Goop thing on Netflix, and she said that about herself. And it's Gwyneth Paltrow. She said something about like being like a harsh critic of herself, and I'm like, what the hell, Gwyneth? Yeah. You're Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, why are you criticizing yourself at all? So it's like every single woman in the world deals with this.
Yes, Oprah, Beyonce, Gwyneth Paltrow, Reese Witherspoon, like keep going on the list. Dolly Parton, it's like yes.
Yeah. I know. I'm a pictorial person, so I got off on a completely different rant. But
no, that was great. It was a good rant.
With all that you guys have going on, what are you doing to take care of yourselves and like keep, not just sane, but happy and have the energy you need to bring to your clients and to your work?
We are practicing. I mean, I think the biggest thing is Harper kind of got on this earlier, like time management. We're figuring that out. Like that's the biggest thing is we have a lot of work on our plate right now and we are loving every second of it. So like we're trying to figure out, or we're not trying to figure out, we are time managing. But also there's a point of like mental health's a real thing. Like you have to have time. Like you can't work till 9:00 every night. You can't work on Saturdays every night. And there's going to be some eye rolls from like our husbands and stuff because we are constantly working. Like, that's the thing. And it's like, but we love it. But I think just the biggest thing is like we practice, like an outlet. We both use the gym as an outlet. We both Harper is a podcast, like any podcast in the world, she could tell you about it. I think that's one of her outlets.
100%. I put my AirPods in and I just like can hone out like completely everything goes away and I'll just fold laundry or something, but it feels like a moment for me.
Self-care.
But what was funny is when we kind of looked at the questions that you gave for this podcast and it said, what are your hobbies outside of your hustle? And we laughed. We were like, you know what's funny? Like we don't have any because right now we're so in an early phase that even like we send each other stuff all weekend long. We're like, oh my gosh, what about this? Or who's, like this would be great for this client. And the thing is, what's cool back to just kind of our passion is that, I mean, while we do need to probably unplug a little bit more, but we're just still in the early days, that our husbands and our families know that that's what we're loving and they're helpful with it. Like my husband will even send me things. It's like, oh, Harp, I think you'd like this, or look how cool this was. And Gracie's husband does it too.
He was like earlier, he was like, you want me to give you this cup or like a Yeti cup? He's like, it'll help y'all sound quality for the podcast. I was like, IT, so he's a little bit of a nerd, but like they're invested, and I think that's the biggest thing.
And I think too, it's back to how we were saying how we got to know each other. We've known each other out of business for so long that we can tell if one of us walks in and is off, the other one knows it. We're like, what's up? What's going on? What's happening? And so, I mean, we'll remove ourselves from work and just, have an hour-long chat at the office and try to figure it out and help each other just be people.
Yeah.
And then Gracie's also super flexible, which is wonderful for me because as a working mom, I'll be like, okay, one of my kids is sick. They have a stuffy nose. They can't go to school. Come to my house. And Gracie will. So it's been a great partnership. We definitely are looking more towards trying to figure out these boundaries because as we grow, we know that there are going to be things that in this season are working that won't work as we grow. So I think we're looking to hire someone. We're looking to kind of, Gracie always says to me, work smarter, not harder, which is like such her business mind she has that I do not. I'm back to that.
She has a business mind.
The strengths test you said, I have all empathy. It was 10% mercy and empathy, and there was nothing else. The person that did my strength test when I worked at a church and they came and did it, and we're like, we've never seen anything like this. You have all mercy. You don't have anything else. And
everyone sucks. No,
so Gracie is my perfect counterpart in that she helps me be reminded that there is a shutting off point.
We both push boundaries for each other. I think that's the biggest thing is like, I'm not an 8. I don't even know the Enneagram. I don't even know what I am on an Enneagram.
Gracie is a medley. She's a medley.
But I do have 8 tendencies of like, I will respect you like in everything. But there's a balance of like figuring out like yes and no. And I think that's the biggest thing is like Harper's such a yes man.
I know. So
people will take advantage of that. And I'm like, Harper, that's what you got to be a no man.
When we look back on our journey and knowing each other, we realized that there was definitely like, we're both Christians and we really feel like that God kind of orchestrated all of it and put us in each other's lives for so many different seasons of life. And that this was just,
it was kismet. I don't know if you know what that means, but that was Harper's first business name.
That was my first business name was Kismet Designs because I'm an etymology nerd and I love everything with words. And so even though Kismet was my past business, this business is truly Kismet. It's actually worked out really well.
I love that. We ask everybody on the Powerful Lady scale, so like each of you to answer individually where you put yourself on the scale, 0 being average everyday human and 10 being super powerful lady. How do you feel today and how do you feel on average?
Oh gosh, I feel like we're both speechless on this just because it's a hard thing to answer about yourself. You know what I mean? I think every day that I'm trying to be more of a powerful lady every single day. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not a 10. You know, there might be a day where I feel like a 0, but like, I think as a whole, Girl Creative is doing pretty freaking good. And so
you have to answer. Wait, you have to answer just for you
just
individually.
For me, I don't know. I mean, like, do you like want a legit monetary number?
Yes.
Well, I'm saying I'm 7. Maybe like trying to just like, I'm not, I feel like it is like a neutral number in a sense, but like we are like absolutely like every day I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm on this. I'm 24 years old and like we are doing like, and not even just like success is not monetary. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing is it's like, we are just successful in like what we're doing because we're honing into it. And so I think that's the biggest thing is, but there's also growth there. And I feel like I can't wait to see where Girl Creative and Gracie, Krajesky is in a year from now. So maybe a year from now I'll be a 10, but like right now I don't know what that says about myself. Giving myself a 7. What are you going to say? I'm really eager to say.
I feel like I honestly, and if you knew me personally, you would know that I have moments of 1 to 10 every day. I feel like some moments, like being on this podcast, I'm a 10. I feel really proud. And it makes me feel proud of what Gracie and I have accomplished and everything that my entire career journey, like you said, there's ups, there's downs, there's a billion things, but I feel like I've landed in a place that I'm proud of and in a company that Gracie and I are building that I'm really proud of. However, in my day-to-day life, I have moments where I'm a total 1 because I miss a kid's conference because I forgot that Gracie and I had a meeting, and then at the same time we get a bomb email from a client that was upset with something we did, and an hour later we get an email from a client that's pumped about something we did. So I feel like legitimately I'm such a feeler. So in every single day I have a 1 moment and I have a 10 moment. And I thank you for providing a 10 moment for me today because this was such a fun podcast to do.
I agree.
And I'm like Gracie said, I'm the biggest fan of podcasts ever. So this is my first one to actually be a guest on, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I am honored, totally honored. As we're wrapping up, is there anything else that you would like the women and men listening to know about you, what you're up to, or just what you think is a good message that they need to hear today?
I think I'll say something and Harper can harp off of it. I feel like we said the word harp a lot too.
It's okay. I feel like you're using my name as a verb.
I mean, the biggest thing is like you keep doing you. I know that might sound like millennial of you, but like lean into the good. And I think that like our whole world needs to hear that right now. And I mean, that's my words of wisdom for this Sunday afternoon. But
I think I'll just kind of like capitalize on what Gracie's saying is what we've said 100 times is just be authentic. And I so much in my life didn't really lean into who I was. I was trying to do something that I felt like was expected of me, or what was going to be the best monetary wise and just kind of what was going to be socially acceptable. Or that, and then when I would think, ooh, I want to be this creative, I'm like, I'm not that creative. I'm not that good. I can't do it. I wasn't classically trained. I wasn't this or that. And I think my biggest advice would be that you have the gifts that are in you because that's you. And I think you lean into what you feel passionate about, because whether you're classically trained at, a great art institute, or you doodled your whole life and put collages all over your wall, like that is something that brought you joy, and you lean into what brings you joy because that's what you're going to be good at.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for being a yes to the Powerful Ladies podcast. Thank you for all that you are and your energy and passion and your diligence to not just your business, but to the people in your community and making sure that everyone gets to rise together. So thank you for all of that.
Of course. Thanks, Kara.
How fun are these ladies? This is another example to go out and find your people. And when you do, go introduce yourself. You never know what can come of it. I am so proud of them and their business and how they're approaching their game of entrepreneurship, let alone what they're doing for their own local community and fellow entrepreneurs. To connect, support, follow, or hire Harper, Gracie, and Girl Creative, you can find them on Instagram @_girl_creative. Visit their website, girlcreative.co, and we have options for their Facebook, their emails, and everything else in our show notes at thepowerfulladies.com/podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this new episode of the Powerful Ladies podcast. If you're a yes to Powerful Ladies and want to support us, you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating and leave a powerful review on Apple Podcasts. You can also be one of our Patreons for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/powerfulladies, where you can get access to exclusive content that we're making just for you. Follow us on Instagram @powerfulladies and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. And of course, visit our website, thepowerfulladies.com, for all the latest news, details, and updates. I'd like to thank our producer and audio engineer, Jordan Duffy. Without her, this wouldn't be possible. You can follow her on Instagram @JordanKDuffy. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love. This episode of The Powerful Ladies is made possible by our Patreon subscribers. Did you know that for as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast? You can send us love, tell us that you want more. You can support all of our events and all that we're doing in the world to fulfill on our full circle of empowerment. It starts at $1 a month. That's less than the coffee you're drinking a day. And there's so many more levels that give you more bonuses and fun things and behind the scenes information. So go to our Patreon, patreon.com/powerfulladies, and support us today. Thank you in advance.